Welcome to the Viking Repair Parts videos. My name is Sean Kramer and I will be walking you through the step-by-step procedures on the replacement parts for the Viking Model F dry pipe valves. Here are the tools that will be needed for the repair parts video. Prior to working on the Viking Model F dry pipe valve, refer to the appropriate technical data sheet for placing the system out of service. The replacement member assembly is only available as a kit. Some of the parts included in the kit are available individually. However, the majority of the parts are only available in the member assembly kit for replacement. The member assembly kit includes these parts. To replace the member assembly in the Viking Model F dry pipe valve, we will first need to release the clapper arm so it is in the latched open position. To release the clapper arm, remove the cover from the valve. Partially remove the bolts on the cover and then break the seal of the cover gasket. This needs to be done to ensure that there is no air pressure or water still in the valve. After breaking the seal, the cover bolts can be fully removed. We can now remove the cover and the cover gasket from the valve. Once the cover is removed, we take the dry valve reset tool, place it through the hole in the hook assembly till it hits the stop on the clapper arm. To release the clapper, we'll apply a downward force to the hook assembly, allowing the clapper arm to spring up into the latched open position. We will need to remove the main drain from the valve. We will next need to remove some of the trim from the valve and then remove the valve from the riser. We will need to open the union that leads up into the intermediate chamber near the drip check, as well as the union that is on the alarm test line on the trim. We can now remove the bolts that are connecting the base to the housing of the valve. We can now remove the housing from the base of the valve. With the housing now removed from the valve, we can now remove the existing member assembly from the base of the valve. We can now install the new member assembly into the housing of the valve, making sure to line up the hook assembly with the set screw at the front of the valve. We also want to make sure that we're lining up the holes of the diaphragm with the holes in the housing of the valve. With the member assembly now lined up with the housing of the valve, we can install the base of the valve onto the member assembly. When lining up the holes on the base of the valve, we want to make sure the trim that leads into the intermediate chamber of the valve is lined up properly, as well as our main drain on the valve is also lined up properly. We can place the bolts back into the valve. With the bolts reinstalled connecting the base and the housing of the valve, we can tighten down the bolts in a star-shaped pattern. We can now reinstall the Model F dry valve back into the riser. Now that the valve is mounted back into the riser, we can now reinstall the main drain back onto the valve. Now that the main drain is reinstalled, we can reinstall the trim that we took off of the valve by lining up the union and closing the connections. We can now set the new clapper assembly into the closed position. Insert the reset tool through the hook assembly. Apply a sharp upward force to pull the hook assembly up over the clapper arm to secure it down. With the clapper now reset, we can now reinstall the cover onto the valve. With all the holes lined up, we can start to replace the bolts in the cover of the valve. We can now use the dry valve wrench to cross-tighten the bolts onto the cover of the valve. This completes the repair parts video for the member assembly replacement in the Viking Model F dry pipe valve. If you have additional questions, or need additional information, please go to our website at www.vikinggroupinc.com or call our toll-free number at 877-384-5464.